Hi everybody, Brian from Variable Traders here. It is the weekend. It's December 9th. Hope everyone's having a good weekend so far. Had another good week on the market for the bulls. We finished just marginally up, and so we'll take a look at what happened last week quickly, and then we'll take a look ahead. Things still look good for the Santa Claus rally, so let's get down to it. Okay, so let's start out and take a look at what happened last week here, December 4th. We had that jobs data that came out on Friday. Initially, it came in, well, it did come in stronger than expected, both in terms of job creation and wage growth. Seemed to obviously had a bit of a negative impact right when the numbers came out, but I think buyers and investors kind of thought, well, maybe the Fed is going to be successful in navigating this economy to a soft landing because inflation seems to be coming down. Jobs market isn't suffering too much. So, yeah, maybe a soft landing is possible. So, again, the buyers came in and pushed the indexes for another weekly high here, SPY and the QQQs closing at an all-time high for the year. You can see there where the indexes all ended up for the week. Consumer discretionary and communications was where money was going, the sectors where money was going the most this week, and energy, another down week. Materials also down. Although energy did stage a bit of a rally there on Friday, it does seem to be down into an area where there may be some support here on the price of oil. Two-year treasuries, you can see there, response to some of the inflation data, significant drops on the yields during the week on the 2-year and the 10-year. Those are big moves on the yields. So bonds obviously rallied on the lower yields, and but now they seem to finding some support here, and maybe we've found a bit of a bottom temporarily here on the yields. The US dollar was up on the week as measured by the UUP, and Bitcoin was the star of the week, really rallied from, sort of that 39,000 level all the way up to 44,400. That's the last I looked at. It might even be higher. So Bitcoin really rallying hard on the week. And that's how we ended the week. Okay, so before we get going here, I always like to do a quick plug for my book on Amazon, How to Swing Trade. You can see it there. And guess what? I have finally published a new book on Amazon. This is How to Trade Options. And you'll notice as I go through a lot of my charts, I talk about trading options as well. So I have decided to write a book there about some of my options and option strategies, kind of a complete guide. So if you don't know much about options, it's a good place to start. If you're looking for some strategies, some risk management advice, it's all there in that book. So hopefully a little bit for everybody there. All right, so let's get down and look at some charts here, starting out with a 2-year. You can see here we dropped off pretty significantly on the week, and on the 2-year, as I already mentioned. 10-year again came down quite a bit, bounced back up, so maybe we've kind of found sort of an area here where there's going to be a bit of support, maybe even a little bit of a rally back. Some of the odds on for a rate hike or at least a rate decrease in March actually reduced in March when some of that jobs data came out. So maybe a little bit of nervousness about strength in the job market, but the indexes didn't seem to reflect that. And the transports actually broke down a bit. We still are in an uptrend, but we're kind of testing this one area, this channel, bottom end of the channel here on the transports. You can see here, transports are always important. Of course, a key indicator of economic activity. More goods get moved around, better for the economy, or at least a better indicator for a good economy. So you can see here we did a bit of a pullback on the week. Nothing to be too concerned about, yes. And you can see here the Dow, nice rally on Friday after a little bit of a weak start after that jobs data initially came out. Volume pretty light on the Dow. Let's take a look on the week, how we fared. Not surprising, we're getting into the Christmas season. Volume is dropping off a little bit here, but again, you can see here we just eked out a gain on the Dow, and again, little bit of stalling action here as we get back up into this this area back in January 2022 where we kind of topped out before, so not surprising we're seeing a little bit of resistance to go higher here. The Qs, again, finishing off on the high, pretty much on the high of the day, and again, high of the year there as it pushes and breaks out to a new high for the year. You can see if we go back to, again, end of 2021, 2022, we're right up in that level here. And we do seem to be, after this nice move up, we do seem to be running out a little bit of steam, but again, market's still pushing to the upside. Volume on the week still pretty light, but again, what do they say? Never short a dull market. So again, the SPY breaking out, closing at a high here. Another nice move on the SPY, as I mentioned last week. Bias to the upside, and we're certainly still seeing that buyers are still there and sellers are not. Let's take a look at the Russell. Again, Russell making a nice move here. I'm still long some IWM. And on a week, we did finish up a little bit on the week here. Had a little bit of a pullback here back into last week's range, but again, finished up higher and still looking at this 190 level as a possibility for target on IWM. And you can see here, this is really really telling the sort of the story here. You can see here the VIX, which is so-called fear index, absolutely no fear in the market. See that drop there on Friday, just amazing, and it's down 12.35 is extremely low. The dollar, you can see here, we did kind of rally back here on the week, and that's the weekly index. So still in a bit of a downtrend on this channel here, but looks like it might try to rally back up here, depending on what the Japanese yen and the euro are doing. And you can see here Bitcoin, well, we've, since I looked last night, 44,400, we have pulled back a little bit here. We're just under 44,000 at this point. So, but what a move on this week here, 40,000 or under 40,000 all the way up to 44,000, 10% move on Bitcoin. This halving thing is going to be happening, which I think is partly driving it. The other thing is, of course, this idea or belief that there's going to be a Bitcoin ETF coming in the near future, and so sort of speculation on that. So if that does happen, watch out. There may be a bit of a pullback after that, sort of a buy the rumor, sell the news thing. So just be aware if you are in that trade, and congrats for being there, and just be careful as we get that news if it does come out. Just looking at Apple, I think Foxconn came out with some pretty positive comments about some demand for Apple products. The iPhone 15 seems to be selling well, and we got this nice rally, and this 197.70 I think is kind of where we didn't quite make $200, 197.70. So again, that could be this 197.50 area, could be resistance, but Apple, the trend is your friend, and the trend is still up on Apple. Alaska Airlines, this is the trade I did last week, came out, announced that they had done or at least they were proposing to buy out Hawaiian Airlines. You can see the nice move on, this was the day it came out with the news, really sold off. An acquirer usually gets sold off, and the buyer and the company that's being bought usually pops up. So the acquirer, being Alaska, really sold off. I saw this as a real overreaction, and when the stock started to come back up, I sold puts. And I was getting back to my options book. I sold puts, 32.50s. That makes me long the stock. So when I sold the puts, I collected money from the buyer of the puts. And then I used that money, actually did what they call a risk reversal. I used that money to buy 34 calls, hoping that it would start to go to 32 and then climb above it, which it actually did. It was just a perfect trade for a risk reversal. And I've already sold the calls. So I'm out of the calls, got a nice almost 100% move on the options on the calls. And I'm still holding the 3250 puts because I think really this bottom is in here, and there's there's not going to be any kind of pullback. So I'll just let those expire, and they will expire next week on Friday. AMD, AMD's had a really nice run. Came out with some AI news, and you can see here, but it's looking a little toppy here at 130. Might be an opportunity here to sell if you're long. Might be an opportunity to get out some, and because this is a bit of an indecision doji here on Friday, or possibly sell some higher upside calls and collect some premium, thinking it's probably going to pull back. Amazon, you can see here we've got a bit of an ascending triangle. You could say it's trading in this range here, but these series of higher lows, I think it just looks like it's ready to Amazon is ready to break out here, and it's not overbought, or it's not overly extended on some of the momentum indicators. So watch for that breakout of sort of around 147.50 area. Could be making a nice move. Boeing, this was another stock I did what I called a risk reversal trade. I sold 240 puts. I used that money to buy 242 calls, and you can see here I got a really nice move through, and so I'm still sitting on that. Those expire next week as well, and I'll probably sell the calls because they're well into the money now. I'll sell those calls early in the week to collect as much premium as possible, and probably keep the 240 puts. Gold I'd sold out of. It had a nice run up, but then when the inflation data came out, showed that inflation was cooling, gold looked like it was ready to roll over, so I got out of that trade. Meta, I had some 330 calls, and I bailed on them on Friday because you can see the move here. It just looked like it was going to continue to go higher, and it did. I'm glad I got out of it. Took a loss, a bit of a loss on that trade, but was just obviously risk management, and not trading on hope that it didn't go through my strike. And getting back to Meta, it looks like maybe 340 is a good area where it might actually be challenging next week if we get a continuation move in the market. TNA, this is how I'm playing the IWM. It looks like it's still going higher here, although it is stalled at resistance. And Tesla looks like it's sort of getting ready to break out here. This is this 247 level. If we start to break above that, yeah, then I think Tesla has a way of squeezing the shorts if there are people that are shorted, and it really once it gets on a tear during a day, it really can rip. So just watch this 247 level on Tesla. If we do start to get above that, I think it could move up to 250 and even higher. URA, I've been long uranium, and this is I took some profits here, just around 29.30, because I knew this was going to be an area of resistance once we got through this level at 28. I knew 29 was going to be a pretty significant area, so I've taken that trade off at this point, and we'll see if it. We'll just keep an eye on it, and that's it. So we're wrapping things up here, week of the December 11th, as we get closer to Christmas season here. There is your levels on the indexes, support and resistance. As I said, some big events coming up this week. We do have CPI data that'll give you a read on inflation on Tuesday, and then PPI data on Wednesday in the morning. And of course, this is going to be the big event, 2:30, when Powell speaks after this Fed rate hike decision. And of course, odds-on favorite, there will be no rate hike. It'll be basically stand pat where they are. So that's kind of general consensus. I'm sure that's where we're going to be. And then, of course, we have a bit more data coming out later in the week, but this is the big one here. Earnings, we've got a little bit of stuff here. We've got Oracle after the market. We have Adobe on Wednesday after the market, Costco after the market with Lennar, and then Darden Restaurant. So a bit of earnings, but not too much to speak of. That's it, everybody. Hope you are having a great weekend, as I said, and we'll see you hopefully 8 o'clock Monday morning in the Bear Bull Trading Room. We'll be starting the pre-market show, kicking things off, and then, of course, trading the market open with our members at 9:30. Hopefully see you there. Take care, and yeah, we'll see you Monday. Bye for now.